Hi, everybody. It's Amalia, founder of STEM Braids and Beyond, and I'm so happy to share this information video with you today. So one of the things that I was able to connect really early in my research is the fact that the STEM gap mirrored the wealth gap. One of the things that the study showed is that part of the reason for a lack of wealth in underrepresented communities, underrepresented according to the national science definition as it relates to STEM, is Blacks and women. But in the larger underrepresented community, it refers to socioeconomic status, which is primarily Blacks. And one of the things they said that part of the reason for the wealth gap is the fact that there's a lack of houses. There's no money transferred family to family, and that is a bold-faced fallacy. Here's why. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, and I would say about 70% of the island has a home ownership, and has for many generations. They're generational houses and individual houses. Now it's more pronounced for individual families instead of generational family houses. Even bigger than that, it's been generational home ownership for maybe for centuries. I know my grandmother's the land that she built her house on. She was born in the 20s, and by the time she had her house, she was born in the 20s. By the time she had her land, it was maybe the 40s, but her mother also owned land and had so much land she was able to give to all of her 11 children. So my great grandmother had enough land for her great grandchildren. And so if ownership is the thing that promotes wealth, then my grandmother should never have been a farmer and live a less than financially capable life. If I were to tell you some of this chick, my grandmother probably should have been a goddamn economist the way she can stretch a damn down. What she lacked was an education. I remember her admiring the fact that I could read and the fact that I could speak our local Creole and also speak the Queen's English. We didn't realize that education was the difference. And so when I look around the island, which was some of the ways I was able to connect my research to America, when I looked around the island, if home ownership was really all that it was cracked out to be in a way to transfer wealth, then third world countries where home ownership is the norm should be normal. But here's the thing, right? Say 70% of the island owns homes. 20% of the island probably was literate. Past grade 3. And so in the US, what they have not connected is that the true element of wealth is an education. It is for this reason that Nelson Mandela said, education is the most powerful weapon by which we can change the world. It takes the child of a farmer and makes them a president. Mind you, I didn't realize this until I was doing some additional research recently, but one of the US presidents, I do not remember his name because I was studying quite a bit of them, but one of the US presidents, he was the child of a farmer. I feel like I know who it is, but I'm scared somebody is going to drag me in the comments if I say the wrong name. But he was a child of a farmer who became a president. And in my opinion, Nelson Mandela was mentioning this. He also said education is the thing that takes a child of a peasant and makes them a doctor. And he breaks down how education is the thing that allows you to escape certain barriers. I understand race exists, but if you are the person skilled in that field, whether they like you or not, because there is a need, they don't have a choice but to give you a seat at the table. I promise you that, especially if you have a highly technical STEM degree where you are one of the few people who can do it. I recently found this out about the COVID vaccine. I also don't remember the name of the woman, but she became the Nobel Prize winner for identifying a gene that helped accelerate the study of the efficacy of the COVID vaccine. And when she created the solution 15 years ago, she lost her job because of it. She was a tenured professor at a university, and what she said was so ludicrous. When the COVID vaccine broke out, though, what I'm referring to, just in case you can't follow all my trend of thoughts, um, is the fact that when you have a highly technical skill, they don't have a choice but to call you. So this woman identified a medical way to approach genes to expedite the COVID-19 vaccine and assess its efficacy. And when she ended up losing her job and being scorned at and ended up working in a less than ideal role. When the COVID virus broke out and they were trying to figure out how do we combat this disease, someone all of a sudden remembered the research she had done and reached out to her. And part of the reason the COVID vaccine was accelerated the way it is, people was like, they didn't do the proper testing and nobody took the time to educate the population on why the vaccine, they could test it for efficacy so quickly. But it was because of this woman's highly technical understanding of genes. Can you believe that? And that's what I mean. They scorned her initially. And when you have a STEM degree that is highly technical, initially they might not want to give you the job, but I promise you that degree will get you in the door. And that is just one example. When I say I promise you, even my life experience has been that sometimes you're the only person, boo. What are you gonna do? They may or may not like you because, and if I leave, right, they're back in the situation they were before. Before I had a degree and a STEM degree, I was easily replaceable because there's 500 people waiting for my job. But I got that STEM degree, and all of a sudden I was considered a specialized skill. How you doing, honey? And this is some of the things I just need to teach. But back to the wealth gap. So with a STEM degree and did another analysis, the lifetime earnings exceeds that of the highest average for an athlete. And so we are doing ourselves a disservice if we're sitting on the sidelines, commenting on everything and everyone, and forgetting to take care of our primary responsibility, which is to be educated global citizens in the world. You look at any third world country, a lot of the things that they're saying is the reason there's no wealth exist in third or developing countries, and the people are still poor. It's the reason everybody else leaves their country and comes to the US for opportunity, because where there is an education, there are opportunities. There are. Anyhow, I plan to do a lot more videos like this. If you want to stay in touch with me, my LinkedIn connection is below. If you're interested in talking to me more about my STEM programs to get it into your school, into your colleges or universities, I'm here for it. Please reach out. Until next time, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.